Well, in Week 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys, the Cleveland Browns looked on in horror as Deshaun Watson shrugged his shoulders and said, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with this football? I don't put my hands on anything unless I can sexually assault it and then deny the allegations later." 32 teams in the NFL, 31 dreams that are going to get crushed. You, being a fan of one of those 32 teams, probably going to end up miserable at some point throughout the season. That goes doubly so if you're a fan of a team like the Cowboys or the Jets or the Falcons, where every time you feel like there's hope, you end up getting slapped in the face by the only weapon that causes more devastating psychological damage to a population than a rampaging Godzilla, which is reality's magnum condom-sized dong. You exist in what is called the NFLOL. It is a league of sadness, where the only way to win is to lose harder than anyone else has ever lost in the history of mankind. This is your all-time draft busts. This is your Cleveland Browns factory of sadness, your butt fumbles.
Tom Moore then at Indianapolis, the offensive coordinator. You got a busted play here, and then
or the entire quarterback history of the Chicago Bears. Through weeks 1 and 2, we have a lot of baffling, stupid-ass decisions by a lot of different teams, players, and coaches, and it's my job to point at them and laugh so I can ignore the weight of impending doom and existential dread that I feel every single day being alive on this earth, knowing that any second some asteroid is gonna come down and fucking kill us all. But enough of that shit. The New York Giants just became the first fucking team in NFL history to score 3 offensive touchdowns, not give up a single touchdown in a game, and still lose the motherfucker. What the fuck am I missing? Besides dignity, self-respect, the love of a good woman, friends, something I'm good at that I could hang my hat on. This list could go on for quite a while. Just like this list of the top 10 things that I found absolutely fucking hilarious about the first 2 weeks of the NFL this season. What the fuck am I doing with my life? First thing we're going to cover on this list is actually kind of a 2-for-1. Imagine selling your soul, draft picks, about $250 million, your dignity, and your self-respect, starting to sound a lot like me actually, in order to get a quarterback who moonlights as a sexual predator at night and during the day, probably in the morning too. Really, as soon as he walks into a massage parlor. That's right, folks. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns going for Deshaun Watson. They had a playoff-ready team knocking on the door to being culturally relevant and maybe even compete for a championship. And then they had the bright idea to sell everything, including their souls, and the quarterback that they had playing for them at the time, Baker Mayfield, in order to bring in this giant piece of shit masquerading as a homo sapien. Well, in Week 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys, the Cleveland Browns looked on in horror as Deshaun Watson shrugged his shoulders and said, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with this football? I don't put my hands on anything unless I can sexually assault it and then deny the allegations later." And while several of the man's alleged victims were starting to cook up some nice juicy evidence that they were going to lay out in a court of law and a court of public opinion, Baker Mayfield, the former quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, is over in Tampa Bay, dominating an admittedly awful Washington Commanders team, but looking like a god-tiered quarterback as he does it. Did I just say god-tiered? What the fuck ever, I'm leaving it in. My mistake is nothing compared to the Cleveland Browns' all-time, possibly actually legitimately #1 stupidest decision in all fucking football. That is an NFLOL move if I've ever seen one. And the goddamn actual real-life juicy justice of having this dumb piece of shit organization watch as their former quarterback lights it up by contrast, that is just peak goddamn content. I rate this NFLOL moment an actual 10 out of 10. This is going to go down as a legendary fuck-up of all time.
Before I go any further, first of all, thanks so much for giving this video a chance. Hopefully getting a couple laughs out of it. I'd like to get a subscriber out of it, maybe a like, maybe a comment. I don't know why I'm saying maybe. I'm desperate. I need all those fucking things. So please, give me those. Look around. You see anyone else? Wife's gone. Kids never existed. Bank account zeroed. And if my computer had legs, it would hurl itself off the roof. So please, find it in your heart, kind soul, to sub, like, comment, share this shit around so I can rebuild the tattered remains of my miserable life.
Number 9. You know, it's rare that you get an opportunity to watch 2 multi-billion-dollar franchises be represented by about 30 people on a football field, and all they do is spend about 60 minutes taking turns shitting in each other's pants and then looking at each other, pointing and going, "Your turn, bitch. Try to do better than that shit I just took." Well, in Week 1, the Tennessee Titans and the Chicago Bears, they dookied it out. Yeah, the Bears walked away with a win, but my God, their entire offense, which they thought was going to be this all-time great offense. I mean, holy shit, look what CJ Stroud did last year. And now we surrounded Caleb Williams with so much more talent. How could we lose? Well, you may not have lost the game in Week 1, but my God, you lost all hope that this guy was going to turn out to be some some kind of miracle rookie. His performance was so bad, and his offensive line so potentially detrimental to his future career, you gotta half expect that this guy's gonna get benched at some point through the year, if not outright killed. David Carr looked on in horror, suffering PTSD, as he waited at the pearly gates to welcome Caleb Williams in to you got killed as a rookie heaven. Or maybe it's hell, I don't know. But not to be outdone by a rookie, Will Levis went, anything you could do, I could do even shittier. My man was literally falling over and then decided, hey, you know what? I think I know what Deshaun Watson was talking about. I don't know how to handle this fucking thing either. And he threw it to the other team the way Deion Sanders' kid throws his own teammates under the fucking bus. But I'm over here burying the lead. The fact of the matter is the Tennessee Titans choked away a 17-0 lead without giving up an offensive touchdown. They lost on a block punt, multiple field goals, and an interception return. One of the stupidest interceptions you could possibly throw. My God, I hope Will Levis learns from this mistake and doesn't immediately go the very next week and do the same shit. Oh, hold on a second. It's time for the True Bouse's fortune telling. We got someone on the line. Is this Will?
Yes, this is Will Levis.
Yo, what's up, Will? What can I do for you?
I would like to know if another stupid interception's in my future.
Let me check the crystal ball real quick. By the way, you got your credit card handy? Yeah, this shit's gonna cost you. This is about $1 million an hour. I gotta make some money. I gotta make up for about 3 decades worth of mistakes. My wife ain't gonna come back to me if I'm still broke.
How's $5.99?
You drive a hard bargain, Will Levis, but I'll take it. I'm looking at my crystal ball. Will Levis, this is you throwing a touchdown.
I throw a touchdown?
That's right, you throwing a touchdown.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, don't get too excited though. Your stupid ass is falling over again.
Yes?
Even though you're falling over and there's no way you can complete a pass, you throw this football.
Again?
Oh, don't worry, this play does not turn out exactly the same as the last one.
Oh, thank God I learned my lesson.
No, you still dumb as fuck. You actually threw it backwards this time, which counts as a lateral fumble, you dipshit, and the Jets picked it up. The only difference is they didn't score this time. Too bad this isn't actually a real phone call, otherwise you might actually learn something this time. Alright, well that was the dumbest fucking skit I could have possibly done. As far as Caleb Williams possibly being a fraud and the Chicago offense coming out and being a total fucking dud, I give that a solid 7 out of 10 on my NFLOL rating. Yeah, we all get to point and laugh. By the end of the season, I don't know, maybe they figure some shit out, and they did win the game. But the fact Chicago might be looking at another bust, or at least a very underwhelming quarterback, that shit is hilarious. As far as the Tennessee Titans choking away a 17-0 lead, quite frankly, they're gonna need a new quarterback after this season. So, I mean, this kind of actually helps them out. You'd like to win these games to preserve your dignity, but I mean, shit, if you're gonna lose, might as well lose big. And I'm glad this guy's got confidence in himself, but I mean, shit, son, you can't learn a lesson as simple as this in 2 weeks. I can't throw a fucking pass to save my life, and I could do better. Partly because I can't throw a pass, so I couldn't possibly throw it to the other fucking team. That's literally all you had to do, was just not throw it. You're falling. Don't do it. But me giving Will Levis quarterback advice would be like him giving me divorce advice. I give the Tennessee Titans a solid 8.5 out of 10. This is reserved for the kind of shit that gets me hysterical laughing, but it's probably not going to stand out in any major way. Until Will Levis goes and does the same fucking thing in week 2. So I'm going to combine that in here, and that's actually going to push it to a solid 9 out of 10. The fact Will Levis did this 2 weeks in a row, that is damn near approaching legendary levels of fail. NFLOL 9 out of 10 material. Does anybody remember when Sean Payton came out and said that Nathaniel Hackett, his predecessor as the head coach of the Denver Broncos, performed what was possibly the worst head coaching job of all time? Then he proceeded to take almost the same exact fucking team and still churn out dog shit, dog shit, dog shit. Oh, and he got a little bit better than dog shit as the year went along. And now he started out this year, and what's this man gonna do for an encore? Oh, that's right, more dog shit. That's besides the fact that this man took on Zach Wilson in one of the most blatantly, obviously pathetic attempts to jack off his own ego by going, look, I fixed the project that Nathaniel Hackett couldn't. Meanwhile, the guy's third string, and he can't even hit a fucking garbage can without beating a poor ball boy in the face. Well, Sean, you had a rookie in his first ever NFL start throw 26 times for apparently like a 1.0 average. How the fuck do you get 26 completions and only 138 yards? I didn't even think that was fucking possible. I tried to do that in Madden, and the stupid animations alone forced me to keep taking positive plays. And the sad part is, I'm pretty sure that was more realistic than Bo Nix's stat line after that first game. By the way, major ups to Bo Nix being asked what happened with that interception.
Bo, can you take us through the interception in the end zone?
Drop back, threw it to the other team.
Bo Nix, no fucks to give when it comes to the media, and that is fucking wonderful, because if you're gonna go down in flames, you take those bastards with the microphones down with you. Ignore the fact that I'm speaking into a microphone as we speak. A 13-6 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 2 came with a better stat line for that young quarterback. But again, the hilarity is Sean Payton talks shit, get hit. And I love the comeuppance on this arrogant asshole's words. Especially because in week 2, he was going up against Justin Fields. It's not exactly like this man was going up against the elite of the elite. Najee Harris, by the way, shout out, 69 yards. That is a nice stat line. I give this a 6 out of 10. Who doesn't like pointing and laughing at a guy who opens his big fucking mouth and looks like a moron for it? Next on the list, how about them Cowboys? Coming out week 1, being the most